Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Morning and Glory video. In today's episode, we shall continue our analysis of the Imperial Guard in 10th edition, going over their brand spanking new index. This time, we shall be casting our critical eye over everyone's favorite DACA vehicle, the Hydra Flak Tank. With its distinctive 4 long autocannons, the Hydra is an intimidating and iconic unit for the Guard. It is easily recognizable and it's a pretty venerable unit as well. For as long as I can remember, Hydras have been an option for Guard commanders. But sadly, traditionally, they have failed to make an appearance on the tabletop, often being seen as over-specialized and therefore not good in a competitive scene where units often need to be called upon in a take-all-comers situation. However, all of that is about to change, for the Hydra has a shiny new datasheet, and it's a pretty good one at that. In my humble opinion, Hydra is a sleeper unit, criminally underutilized, and if I may say, gentlemen, dare I say it? You know what, I think it's time for a bold Mordian glory statement. I believe Hydra is in fact a top tier unit for the Guard right now. And with those controversial words still hanging in the air, lingering like a bad fart, I think it's time for us to dive right into today's episode. As is tradition, we shall begin with a brief overview of what the hell the Hydra is. And it's actually a pretty straightforward vehicle to understand. It might be a bit goofy looking, but in the lore, the Hydra is the premier ground-based anti-air option of the Guard. Its one job is to fill the sky with a hail of lead that no amount of dodging, ducking, dipping, diving, and dodging can possibly avoid. Hydras don't try and target enemy units with pinpoint accuracy. They make it so there is no safe space in the sky. And they've been doing this effectively for thousands of years. And when the Hydras start turning up, the enemy air power starts coming down. Unfortunately, this did make the Hydra a rather specialized unit, and that did affect its tabletop performance. GW liked the idea of having this weird, wacky, waving, flailing, flailing tube man unit that was really specialized and really good at killing aircraft, but that meant that the rules they gave it really limited its usefulness. Because sure, it was good at picking aircraft out of the sky, but not everyone could or would run flyers. And the problem is that not only did GW make it good at shooting flying units, but they made it bad at shooting ground units. And so if you got into a game where you didn't come across any aircraft, it wasn't like your Hydra missed out on its buffs. It was actively downgraded when shooting at units that weren't zipping around in the skies. But good news, everybody! The Hydra has gone through its awkward teenage years. It has fully matured into an adult, and Games Workshop has given it some damn good rules. In fact, why don't we dive into the datasheet proper right now? To start off, the Hydra stat line has a movement value of 10 inches, which is pretty standard when compared to other Guard vehicles. It's a toughness of 9. Now that does put it in line with things like the Wyvern and the Basilisk and the Chimera. It is a little lower than I would have liked. It would have been cool to see the Hydra with a toughness value of 10, but T9 is still okay. It's got a 3+ save, which is fairly good for a medium Guard vehicle, and 11 wounds, which is nice. A lot of the Guard vehicles have received an extra wound over the course of 9th and 10th edition, and it's good to see that the Hydra hasn't been left out. It's then got the very standard issue Leadership 7+ of the Guard. I think every unit in this index has got Leadership 7, except for the Commissar. Even the Kazakin, who are meant to be the bravest of the brave, have got Leadership 7. So that's just pretty much what you'd expect for any Guard unit like Leadership. And then we've got Objective Control of 3. That's not great, not terrible. I wouldn't expect the Hydra to be running around stealing objectives from people, but It does mean it can contribute to holding an objective. It's not like an OC of 1, which would make it almost useless. So maybe on its own, it's not going to hold any objectives, but supporting an infantry squad, it might tip the balance in your favor. But however you look at this thing, it's not really designed to be an objective holder. Leave that to the ground pounders, the foot sloggers, the pure bloody infantry. What we take the Hydra for is its Daka potential, and it's bringing that in spades. As standard, the Hydra comes equipped with a heavy bolter, a Hydra autocannon, and armored tracks. It can swap the heavy bolter out for a heavy flamer, but you're probably not going to bother doing that. It's, after all, a long-range support tank. And it can also take a hunter-killer missile, which is actually nice. It's a free upgrade, and it does give the Hydra a bit of proper one-shot pop anti-tank. On its own, a hunter-killer missile isn't that big deal, but when you're taking a free one on every vehicle and suddenly you're looking at like 6 to 10 free hunter-killers, they do start adding up. So it's great that the Hydra can contribute to that fireworks display. Now, the heavy bolter and heavy flamer are standard issue. They are the same as you would find on other vehicles. You've got heavy bolter, sustained hits 1, 36-inch range, 3 attacks, blitz skill 4+, strength 5, AP -1, 2 damage. A good long-range anti-light and medium infantry killer. And the heavy flamer is ignores cover. It's torrent. It's a 12-inch range. It's D6 shots. It automatically hits. It's strength 5, AP -1, and 1 damage. 9 times out of 10, you're going to want to put the heavy bolter on the Hydra. But if you are expecting it to be more of a front line unit, or you suspect your opponent might be going to be trying to tie it up in combat, and you want to have some kind of overwatch or some way of dissuading your opponent from locking it down, then I would say go for the heavy flamer. But with the new 10th edition rules and the fact that vehicles can kind of shoot where they want, I think the heavy bolter is the better choice every time. But that's enough of the sideshow, of the accoutrement. We must get to the main act, the main course, and that is, of course, the Hydra autocannon. And I think this is a deceptively powerful weapon. I think a lot of people are underestimating what this can do in the current meta. So it has a fairly standard autocannon profile. It has on the surface, it has what looks like a normal autocannon profile. It's got a ballistic skill of 4+, although of course you can take aim, so this thing will be hitting on a 3+. Strength 9, AP -1, 3 damage. Where things start getting interesting is the fact that the Hydra autocannon fires 4 shots, not 2. And it also is a 72-inch range weapon. Now, this extra range is important. It means that under almost any circumstances, Hydra is going to get the first shot. It's going to be able to peek around the corner, unload its weapons first, and the opponent is going to have to close the distance if they want to fire back. Now, this being 40k, range at best, say it again, buys you a turn. The boards are a bit smaller, units are quite mobile, so maybe you get the first shot off, but maybe you don't. But I would say there's nothing wrong with having a nice long-range weapon. Considering that a lot of other people's long-distance fire support has been capped at 36 or 48, there are going to be circumstances when having that 72-inch range is going to feel very tasty. But let's be honest with each other, it's a nice to have. The main strength of this weapon comes from Twin Linked. Now, Twin Link takes this thing to another level. Because autocannons are great take or come as weapons, but they do suffer from the fact that the moment they come across heavy armor, they have to win on 5s, and that's not super reliable. But with Twin Linked, that is reliable. And with the extra damage, I mean, look at it this way. The Leman Russ Exterminator is widely considered to be the best Leman Russ variant right now. Half of that is because of its Withering Hail ability, which allows you to put extra AP on. But the other reason is because it's got a twin-linked autocannon. And finally, it is a genuine threat. It's more of a take-all-comers unit than the traditional El Clasico battle cannon tank. So having Twin Linked is a really big deal. It massively boosts the reliability of this unit. It massively increases the damage output. Don't forget, Twin Linked is against everything. It's not against specific units like, oh, it's only Twin Linked against aircraft. No, this thing is getting full rerolls to wound all the time. But the real diamond in the rough is its other universal special rule, anti-fly 2+. Not anti-flyer, not anti-aircraft, anti-fly 2+. This is a big deal. Pretty much every competitive game of 40k that I have played in the last 3 years has been dominated by factions which can utilize the fly keyword. All throughout 9th, those factions which could fly had an advantage over those that could not. And the same is true to an extent in 10th edition as well. The reason why fly is a big deal is because it allows you to traverse terrain where other units cannot. And Leman Russ can't go through an L-shaped ruins wall. It has to go round. But a unit with fly, now to be clear, fly is not as powerful as it once was because you do have to take into account vertical distance, but it's still a very powerful rule, and more importantly, it's a very, very common rule. I truthfully cannot tell you the last time that I played a game or watched a competitive game where someone wasn't using fly. There's always someone on either side that has some units with fly, and often a lot of their units. I would say the majority of vehicles that you're likely to come across are going to be like skimmers, fast-moving things. You've got all the Dark Eldar ones, all the Eldar ones. Eldar, top faction right now. Fire Prison's top unit right now. All of the Eldar vehicles have got fly. And you've even got loads of infantry, which have got fly as well. All of those jump pack units. Half the Space Marine infantry you can take has got some kind of ability to hop around, boost around with a jetpack on it. And the same goes for other popular tournament factions. Sure, they're not doing great at this very moment, but Tau are always on the tournament scene. And I think all their vehicles, all their battlesuits, they've all got the fly keyword. The point I'm trying to get across here is whether you're on the top table, the middle table, or the bottom tables, if you go to a tournament, you can expect the majority of your games, at the very least 3 out of 2 games at a 5-game event, are going to have armies which have fly. So the fact that the Hydra not only has anti-fly, but it's anti-fly 2+ is wild. I mean, sure, against a lot of infantry, it was probably going to be wounding on a 2+ anyway. But suddenly, this turns this thing into an absolute anti-tank beast. If you come across an Eldar vehicle, let's talk about the Fire Prism, very popular now, but also you've got things like Hornets as well. You're going to be wounding that vehicle on a 2+ with full rerolls, because Twin Link's still rocking around there. And guess what? There's more. Because of course, this being 10th edition, every unit in the game has some kind of baked-in ability. And the Hydra, well, its ability is Flak Battery. Each time this model makes an attack that targets a unit that can fly, you can re-roll the hit roll. Against the right target, against very much meta units. This thing is going to be rocking full rerolls to hit, wounding on 2+, full rerolls to wound. Now, I know what some of you are going to be thinking. Mordian, I feel like you're kind of overhyping this thing. Sure, it's very good at killing flyers, but can't do much else. I respectfully disagree. I think this thing has the range, the number of attacks, and the strength, AP, damage, and the full rerolls to be a legitimate threat to any target on the board. That's what's great about the Hydra. Whether it had anti-fly or Flak Battery or not, it would still be a really, really solid unit. It is an anti-everything tank. It is take all comers. It just goes absolutely Super Saiyan when it comes across its preferred prey. And one more thing, my dear skeptical viewer, I would like to direct your attention to the cherry on top, the points costs. Because when you get a unit like the Hydra, often GW is guilty of overcosting it. Because what they do is they look at its maximum potential damage in its ideal situation, and then they go, well, it could be really, really powerful, so we're going to give it a ridiculous points cost. We've had Hydras cost something like 150 points in the past, almost as much as a Leman Russ, just because maybe against an aircraft they could blow it up in one go. But that's not the case anymore. The Hydra is a bargain. It only costs 95 points. That is less than any Leman Russ. That is less than any Flyer. That is less than any Hellhound, any artillery piece. It's barely more expensive than an armored Sentinel. Being so cheap is the biggest selling point of the Hydra, because it is eminently spammable. One of the things that people are starting to wake up to in 10th edition is how tough vehicles are. I don't think a week goes by without me seeing someone posting an article on the Warhammer competitor subreddit going, oh, vehicles are too tough. It takes 1,000 las cannons to kill a rhino. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating slightly, but you get the point I'm trying to make. So any vehicle that you can spam, any way that you can cram more armor overload into your list is very valuable. I've done a video on this topic already. In fact, I'll try and link it at the end of this one, talking about how medium armor spam is absolutely on the horizon, and Guard are poised to be able to do this better than almost anybody else. And I truly think that the Hydra is a key part of that armor spam tactic. What I'm trying to say here is not only is the Hydra potentially anti-meta, it also could be meta defining. It could be the next step in the evolution of the meta. Of course, all of that is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you think the Hydra is now a premier, maybe even top tier unit for the Guard? Or do you think it's something that might look better on paper than in reality? Of course, if you've enjoyed today's video, make sure you smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. And I just want to take a moment to say a massive thank you to all of the channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. You truly are the lifeblood of the channel, and I couldn't do this full time without you. And I want to take a moment to say a special thank you to all of my top tier supporters. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So thank you so much to Alan Blunt III, Amy DeSweet, Bon Vert, Ken Starr, Mark Panconi, Ross Miller, Swordfish Trombone, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Varney. Once again, guys, thank you. Genuinely couldn't do this without you. Your incredible and generous support just makes a huge difference. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching, and of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.